Hello and welcome to another episode of Out Loud. I am your host, Anthony Parker. Now, as you can tell, we're not in the usual set of our show due to COVID-19. I am at home filming in my living room, and our guest today will be joining us via Skype. And I think this is the first time I have gotten dressed up in about a month or so. Anyway, I want to insert my little PSA here as a reminder to please stay home. By going outside, you put yourself and others at risk of contracting coronavirus. Now, if you do have to go outside for essential purposes, be sure to maintain a 6-foot distance from others and keep your face covered at all times. It's really the only way to stop the spread of this virus and keep our family and friends safe. Now, it's no doubt that COVID-19 has impacted everyone on some level, including the LGBTQ+ community. Some may feel that their resources have been stripped away from them, and in this time we really have had to learn how to navigate life with as minimal person-to-person contact, and obviously technology has played a huge role in that. Now, our first guest joining us today is from the Loft LGBT Center in White Plains. Now, the Loft has a wide array of services available when not in a pandemic, but they've shifted things to meet the needs of our current times. Please join me in welcoming a friend of mine and the volunteer and membership manager of the Loft LGBT Center, Ryan Kareen. Hi, Ryan.
Hi, Anthony. Thank you for having me today.
Yes, welcome. You are the first remote guest that the show has had.
Oh, I'm very excited.
Yes. So just start off, tell us a little bit about the Loft.
Yes, so the Loft LGBT Community Center is Westchester's LGBT Center. We've been around for about 37 years, and we currently rent space from the Memorial Methodist United Church. We're on Bryant Avenue in White Plains, New York. So we have over, I believe it's around 45 to 50 different programs and services for the LGBT community. So we have support groups, social groups, advocacy groups, health and wellness groups, educational groups, a drop-in center, a Loft helpline, and many other programs and services for the LGBT community of Westchester County. And I want to just quickly mention that although technically we're Westchester's LGBT Center, we get tons of people from the boroughs, other counties such as Rockland County, Orange County, Putnam County, people who come from out of state, from Connecticut and New Jersey as well. So we really try to, be welcoming to any member of the LGBTQ or allied communities.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Now, you guys offer a lot of different services, and I kind of looked it up on your website. It kind of breaks down into 5 different areas: support groups, social groups, assistance and advocacy, health and wellness, and education. So tell us a little bit about those services.
Yeah, so our support groups all follow the peer-led model. So the Loft, we are super fortunate and super thankful that we have a volunteer base of over 170 volunteers throughout the year. And I'm one of the co-facilitators for one of the peer support groups, or 20-somethings peer support group, and some of our other staff members are also co-facilitators for some of our support groups, but the majority of our groups are volunteer run. So we have
That's
groups
great.
such as the 20-something group, an LGBT mental health peer support group, a gay men's peer support group, a lesbian social network group, a bisexual peer support group, an asexual peer support group. So we believe that the peer model is really important in terms of providing support, because when you can kind of attend a group in which you identify as a peer with that group, it helps limit feelings of like isolation, depression, and also allows you to meet other members of the community that align similarly to you potentially in your identities. We also have social groups, so we have an LGBT knitting circle, we have a games night, we have a vegan potluck veg out that meets monthly. We have a few movie groups, so we really try to kind of have like a robust different types of both peer.
Yeah, it sounds like it. You cover all your bases. Yeah.
And then of course, we also have we do a lot of professional workshops throughout the year. We run Westchester County's only 55 plus LGBT specific program called Silver Connections. So specifically through Silver Connections, we do some intergenerational programming for the senior community, as well as professional and more so like skill sharpening workshops for the community, so that our senior members can not feel isolated, but also they can meet other people and still develop their skills.
Oh, that's nice. That's really nice. Now, bringing the conversation to COVID-19 and how that has impacted everyone, even, including the LGBTQ+ community, how have you guys shifted things to still meet the community's needs, really?
Yeah, well, as soon as the news started coming out, around Westchester that COVID-19 had a presence. We knew that we it was more important than ever for us to still continue our important resources for the community, because the LGBT community is already at risk for isolation, depression, anxiety, and a bunch of other health conditions that can stem from those aforementioned I guess like feelings. So we really felt like it was super important that we need to switch our modality of communication to the community. So we started doing virtual groups on March. I think our first group was the week of March 17th, like that Saturday. Since then, almost all of our peer support groups and a bunch of our social groups have jumped virtually. We've had, I think we're approaching like 170 people who have filled out our Google form to attend these groups remotely. So we're super fortunate that we're able to reach the community this way, and that our community members can get some mingling, and peer support throughout this time, because really, we serve the community. So we needed to continue our jobs.
Yeah, thank God for technology to do that too, honestly.
Totally.
Yeah. Now, I also want to talk about the COVID-19 resources page that is on your website too. You cover a lot of area there, so tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so on top of peer support and social support during this time, we really wanted to have an opportunity to connect our community members, with direct resources. So there's broken down into different categories, such as domestic violence resources, which links to the Lost Intimate Partner Violence Program, in which you can connect with one of our advocates on staff. And we also have like housing resources for anybody who's experiencing housing insecurity, as well as we link to resources in which the governor's office have, kind of talked about through proclamations, whether it's like the eviction suspensions for 90 days. We also have information about food insecurity. So with the Loft, we are working with our volunteer base to deliver groceries for any of our, elderly or more vulnerable community members who need assistance.
That's so great.
Thank you. And but also, working in hand with a bunch of other communities and other really integral nonprofits in Westchester, such as Feeding Westchester, to advertise, about like other types of food resources in the county. And also, just kind of how community members can be safe, like what does social distancing mean? Are there specific communities such as the trans community that have additional faces, additional barriers that they might need to overcome, in terms of accessing care, especially during this time. So we just thought it was really important to have it laid out on our website for our community. And of course, we're constantly updating that with, changing guidelines from either.
Yeah, it's changing every day. That's great. It's great to know that you guys have really you house all of, this information on one place, and people can still continue to feel supported during this time, because I think that's something that, we do have to, social distance, and that can be really isolating. So it's nice to know that there's still ways, that we can still be connected with our community. So that's great. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and when we return, we'll have more with Ryan.
Mrs. and Mrs. Jimmy at the DBU.
I came from 5 generations of teachers. Losing my job was the bottom falling out of my world.
Hello and welcome back to Out Loud. We are here with Ryan Corain from the Loft LGBT Center. Now, Ryan, we just talked about all of the different resources that are still available while we are in this pandemic right now, and all the services that the Loft does offer in general. But now I want to talk about the resources page that's on your website. That lists LGBT-friendly businesses and organizations, and there really seems to be a lot of connections from career coaching to legal services to even therapists. So tell us about that, please.
Yeah, so part of what my job entails is I'm the Loft membership manager. So I coordinate our Loft membership base and also our Loft business partnerships. So all of those resources that you see are Loft business partners. So they pay an annual fee to be listed on our website. However, it's a way that they show their support for the LGBT community and also allows the LGBT community to kind of see like, okay, like if I want an LGBT friendly therapist, there's a few listed there. If I want, a career coach, LGBT friendly restaurants in the area, they can find it there. So it's a way of us mutually supporting each other, them supporting the LGBT community in the Loft and us, helping to advertise their programs and services for the community. Because, as we all know, everyone wants to, go to some place in which they feel affirmed.
Exactly. And that can be daunting sometimes, especially for, let's say, a therapist even.
Yeah, of course. And I mean, and unfortunately, through many experiences of many community members, they have, felt discriminated and disrespected at places in which, you shouldn't be. So that's just one way in which we can kind of connect resources on top of our Loft helpline, in which anyone can call in to the center, email us, and we can connect them to LGBT-friendly social workers, endocrinologists, domestic violence organizations, and a host of different resources depending on their individual needs.
That's great. And what is that hotline number, just so people know?
Yeah, so it's our any Loft staff member can answer it. So it's 914-948-2932 extension 13, and we have, like I mentioned, a host of LGBT-friendly endocrinologists, domestic violence organizations, youth resources, LGBT-affirming places of worship in the county and beyond. So we really try to work one-on-one with anybody who outreaches to us for their specific needs.
That's great. Now, I may be asking this question maybe a little prematurely, being that it's April when we're filming this, but Pride is coming up. And the Loft does hold Westchester Pride, which is a lot of fun. But what are the plans for Pride right now with all of this going on?
Well, we've gotten that question many times actually so far, but Pride is still happening. It is just not going to happen in June. However, we are working with the county of Westchester in which we can choose a date potentially in August, so that we can celebrate as a community. One, that hopefully we have overcome COVID together, and also to make sure that we're still celebrating Pride because it's such an important and also fun event for our LGBT community.
Okay, great. So it's still happening, just not in the usual month that it happens. That's good to know. Yes, it's a lot of fun. So I'm happy to know that it's still happening. Now, you mentioned that the Loft is obviously has a lot of volunteers. If anyone wants to volunteer, how can they get involved at the Loft?
Yeah, well, they can definitely contact me. So my email is Ryan, that's just Ryan, at loftgaycenter.org. You can also call us at 914-948-2932, extension 14, and you'll reach my voicemail, but I would give you a call back. Right now, our volunteer opportunities are just a little limited, just due to us working remotely. However, we do have volunteers helping us make family check-in calls, help coordinate grocery pickups, and helping us with a myriad of other tasks. But you can also reach out now. We can coordinate stuff when it's safe to come to volunteer as well.
Okay, great. And if people want to join in on these virtual groups or even groups when things do get back to normal, how can they get involved in these groups?
Yeah, so on our website, which is loftgaycenter.org, we have a slider going on the top that people can click that say like virtual groups now. And there's also a blog post right underneath that in which it says like virtual groups meeting weekly, in which there's a Google form that we ask everyone to fill out just because we want to make sure that those who request specific groups, identify as peers of those groups. And also, we are taking added up safety precautions to prevent any Zoom bombing happening for our community because we are using Zoom. So you can just fill out those Google Forms, and then you might get a call from our law staff members, just us talking to you really quickly. And which we can be discreet about also, because we understand that individuals might not be in a situation where they can speak freely. And then once we determine that you're able to attend that group, then we'll send you out like a Zoom meeting link and a password specific to that group, and you can click multiple groups at once. And we are constantly adding new groups to that Google form, and taking away groups that have already happened. So it's important to kind of keep checking the groups, because we are offering new groups every week.
Yeah, that's great. It's good to know that this is still a thing, and people can still feel connected and have the resources. That's great. Now, I know you mentioned the Loft's website. Where else can people find the Loft on social media?
Yeah, so the Loft, we have a Facebook page, we have a Twitter page, and we also have an Instagram page. Our Instagram page is Loft LGBT Center. So is our Twitter, and our Facebook is the Loft LGBT Community Center. All of our social media handles can also be found on our website. If you scroll towards the bottom, there's links that you can go directly to all of those pages.
Great. And I also wanted to mention, too, that we have been sharing the different groups that the Loft is hosting each week virtually on our social media, too, just so viewers are aware that, it's either on our Instagram story or our Facebook, but we're sharing it in some way. But I want to thank you so much for being here, or joining us virtually, I should say.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. Like I mentioned, I'm Ryan Crane. I use he, him, his pronouns. If anyone wants to get in contact with the Loft, you can do so on our website, or you can feel free to give me an email at ryan@loftgaycenter.org, or call me at 914-948-2932, extension 14.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ryan, and thank you to the Loft for continuing to work diligently through this time. Thank you.
And of course.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, and when we return, we'll have our next guest.
Have questions about the coronavirus?
I'm here to share some simple steps you can take to help protect yourself and others.
Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Wash your hands often with soap and water for 20+ seconds.
Cover your cough or sneeze with a tissue.
Clean and disinfect surfaces and objects. Wash hands after touching commonly used items.
Together, we can help slow the spread.
Hello and welcome back to Out Loud. I am your host, Anthony Parker. Now, our next guest joining us is a Bronx-based drag performer here to talk about the art of drag and how COVID-19 has impacted the community. Please join me in welcoming Katrina Lovelace. Hi, Katrina. Hi, welcome.
Thank you.
You are part of the first remote episode of Out Loud.
Hey, there's a first for everything, right? And
yes. So let's just start off. Just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yep. Okay. Well, my name is Katrina Lovelace. I am living in the Bronx. I like to say that I am the dancing diva of the Bronx Zoo. That is always my tagline. So yeah, live in the Bronx. I mostly perform in the city, in the East and the West Village. I've been doing drag for about 5.5 years now, and I've been doing it professionally as my full-time job for the past 2.5 years. So yeah, it's been a whirlwind of a ride, but hey, I would not trade it for the world.
Now, what brought you to drag?
I guess just the love of the art, and also I love dancing, and I wanted to actually audition for dancing roles, but in the dancing world there's not really a lot of room for bigger people, and I am a bigger guy, so I knew that there was going to be a lot of rejection. So for that, I decided to just create my own platform and just create my own stage. And also it so happened that when it was NYC Pride on my 21st birthday, it was my 21st birthday was that Sunday of the Pride Parade. So I decided, why not? Like, this is the best time to do it and to be really, really gay. So yeah.
That's great. That's great. Now, what has drag taught you about yourself or maybe the world or both?
Um, Drag has taught me how to love myself. It's very tacky and very like a common answer, but it's really true because for you to be able to go out looking like you do and performing in front of a bunch of people and doing a 2 hour show and just connecting with everybody, it kind of makes you love the skin that you are in because you have to be comfortable with who you are in and out of drag. So that's definitely has taught me a little bit more of a self-worth and definitely has taught me as well to be a little bit more of an extrovert because out of drag, I'm definitely an introvert. Like I like to stay at home. But yeah, it's definitely taught me to be more out there and talk to people more. So yeah.
Now, you're out in the bars and clubs performing when they are open, and I know you love to dance, you said. What is your favorite song to perform to?
Ah, it's very I have a couple, but I have to say that my favorite song that I always go back to is Kill the Lights by Alex Newell. It's just
Oh.
a very like upbeat song and it's a feel good song. A lot of people when I perform it, they don't know they've never heard the song, but once I finish performing it, everyone's always like, "Oh my God, who performs that? Who sings it?" Yeah, so it just has a really good beat and it's always a feel good song at the end of the show. So yeah, that one I have to say.
Yes, I love that song. Now, if what advice would you give to those out there who are maybe interested in trying drag?
Huh. I mean, I would say don't. There's so many options already. No, I'm kidding. But if you just go out to the bars and see your local drag queens performing, because a lot of people kind of go into it just thinking that they have to do splits and death drops and all that, but it's not the case. I feel like an audience would appreciate you more for doing what you think is your strongest asset, whether it be singing, dancing, magic tricks, whatever the case may be. You also have to instill some time in it because drag is not cheap. It's quite expensive, to be quite honest. So you definitely need to realize that at the beginning that you have to encompass everything. You have to be a seamstress, you have to be a DJ, basically. You have to be an entertainer. You also have to be a producer, an MC. So it's definitely something that you have to be comfortable in every aspect of entertainment. So
Yeah, you definitely have to be a jack of all trades for sure.
exactly. Hmm.
All right, well, we're going to take a quick break, and when we return, we'll have more with Katrina.
Bless up, world.
Have you heard about social distancing?
You gotta stay at home if you can.
This is very serious. We have to stay home.
Not just to protect yourself, but to protect others.
You don't want to spread the coronavirus in your community.
Don't go outside, even if you think you're fine.
Stay at least 6 feet away from other people. 2, arm's length.
2 arms.
Do not hug.
Don't shake hands.
Yeah, no touching for now.
Any avoidable trips, avoid.
Nope, not traveling anywhere.
Pick up food or get it delivered.
Staying home helps lower the risk for everyone.
Protect your life, protect your loved ones, and protect the world.
We can save lives, okay?
Stay at home.
Stay at home.
Stay at home.
That's the key.
Just because you're at home
Doesn't mean that we can't be alone together.
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 Cool?
Hello and welcome back to Out Loud. We are here with Katrina Lovelace. Now, bringing the conversation back to COVID-19, I'm curious to know how you have seen this virus impact the community and drag performers.
Drag performers, the way that COVID has affected us is basically we're all out of a job, especially for the people that do it full time. So it has affected them a lot, especially because we work from a freelance perspective. So we work on a 1099. So a lot of us are not really actually able to even apply for unemployment, unfortunately. But thankfully, the community has actually been even more united than ever. So there's a lot of people that have found like their generosity and have been able to tip a lot of the drag performers that they like, their local drag queens, and it's definitely shown a lot of unity, and that's always a good thing. It's definitely in times of crisis, a lot of people unite. So we're definitely stronger as a community than we are as a nation right now.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's great to see that people have come through. It's scary because this has impacted people in so many different ways. So it's definitely a scary time for us to navigate through right now. But you are doing virtual drag shows, so tell us about those.
So basically, I'm doing every Monday at the moment. I'm doing a paint with me, a virtual drag, a makeup show on Instagram Live with my friend Hibiscus. On Tuesdays, I'm actually doing a show called Kiki with a Cocktail with my sister Lola Michelle Kiki. It's basically a drag show where we teach you how to make a drink, either a virgin or a full alcoholic drink, and then you drink that drink while watching us perform. And then
that's fun.
On Wednesdays, I have another virtual drag show called High C with my drag sister as well, Hibiscus. It's just a drag show from our bedrooms, practicing social distancing as we all should. And yeah, those are my shows that I'm doing so far, and it's all on Instagram Live, on my Instagram at Katrina Lovelace. That is Katrina with a C. So yeah.
Okay, cool. That's good. It's good to know that there is still some form of entertainment out there, while we're all social distancing. So, and
you have to find a creativity somewhere, right?
Exactly. And it basically functions as a normal drag show. People are able to tip you and stuff like that through Venmo and whatever, right?
Yep, exactly. I mean, we at the beginning of the show, we definitely make a disclaimer saying that we have our Venmos tagged in the Instagram Live video, but it's not necessary if you guys like don't have the funds or don't want to tip. I mean, it's obviously like tough times for everybody, but it's there if you want to, and if you don't, hey, enjoy the show at the end of the day, because we're all just trying to keep our minds out of this, and we're here to entertain as well. So
yeah, this is the time to support the community if you can, of course.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so you're doing these shows weekly, right? You said.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And okay, so where can people find you doing these shows again? I think you plugged your Instagram, right?
Yes, it's going to be at my Instagram at Katrina Lovelace. That is Katrina with the C. And also you can find me on Facebook at Katrina Lovelace as well. I will be posting all the information there too. So if you need, if you prefer one or the other, you will all get the information from any of those sources.
Okay, perfect. Well, I will definitely try to attend one of your virtual drag shows, and when all this is over with, I definitely want to come see you perform in person.
Yes, please. It's most definitely different in person than it is from my bedroom. There's not much that I can do. I live on the 3rd floor, so I can't really be doing jump splits because the neighbors will complain. So yeah.
Well, that's great. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
All right, and remember that you can find us on social media on Facebook at OutLoudLGBT, on Instagram at OutLoud.tv, and on Twitter at OutLoudLGBTTV. And remember that you can stay up to date with all things Out Loud on our website, OutLoudTalk.com. And if you are an LGBTQ plus person or organization or performer and would like to come on the show and share your work or your story, feel free to submit using the Be on the Show tab at the top of our website. And lastly, I just want to give a big thank you to all of the healthcare and essential workers out there, keeping us all safe and healthy and fed and just keeping the world really turning while the rest of us, are social distancing. So a big, big thank you. And remember that being your true self is your greatest gift to the world. We'll see you next time here at Out Loud.